Hey everyone, as you can tell, or maybe you can't, and this is about to be very shocking news to you, Ryan's not here, but he'll be back next week, so keep your pants on. Or don't.
Perverted.
And as I'm sure you noticed from the opening test shots, last week, Stark and I saw Blade Runner 2049. Say hi, Stark. And if you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, do yourself a favor, go see the next showing of this visual buffet. But after seeing the film, Stark came up with a shockingly simple way to do this crazy looking desert scene with exactly 0 monies. So we went out and turned this into this. To pull this off, first we have to shoot shots. So I grabbed Eris and we went out to get the shots that we needed, all of which was handheld except for this one, which Ryan shot with our DJI Mavic. And I know, I said no monies. But you don't need this shot, so get your head out your ass. Okay? Head out your ass. But we wanted to replicate this specific shot from the film, and since we don't have that Hollywood money, we went with what we had. Hence, drone. Now once we had the shots, I handed it all over to the wizarding hands of Stark. Remember when I said that Ryan will be back next week? Yeah, I lied, he's here. Now that it's time to get into the nerd talk, I guess I'll get him out of my trunk. One sec. Come on. Stand here. You do a great job. Yep.
Please tell me that wasn't on your actual foot.
It might have been.
Come on, man. I just want...
Do a good job or it gets the hose again.
Since we're going to be doing a heavy color cast of red, yellow, and orange, the first thing Stark did was to prep our footage. For this, he duplicated the layer, then on the bottom layer, Stark masked out the sky down to the horizon line. Then using rotobrush on the top layer, he masked Eris out all together. And of course, we feathered them both. So now we have the Eris layer, and then under that, the original one with the horizon cut out so that things can pass in front of Eris. And in this case, rotobrush worked perfectly because the sky is perfectly blue and flat, and Eris is wearing a very dark and well-defined outfit. Next, we're going to turn the saturation all the way down so that we're left with just a black and white image. Then Stark added a tint effect to the footage and mapped black to a dark red. Next, you're going to add an orange background so that we have a target to blend to. Then we make a new solid layer and put it above the rest of our layers. So this should be at the very top of our comp. And it doesn't matter what color you choose for it either. Now we're going to add a gradient ramp that goes from golden to more of a golden orange, then set this layer's blending mode to overlay. This allows the orange color to blend nicely with the desaturated image from earlier that we gave that red color to. The orange fills in the white and finally gives us the look of atmosphere. So now with very few steps, we already have this, our very stylized Blade Runner look, which looks pretty great across all of our shots. Here's a before and then after on this shot. Then on this one, we have a before and then after. But now we take a quick break and then deal with some dragons. Can I get some water at least?
No.
Is that Eris?
No.
Eris is here? Help! Eris! It's fine.
If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, or innovator, Domain.com is a place to go when that next great idea hits you. When you buy a domain name from Domain.com, you're taking the first steps in creating an identity or vision for your brand or idea. The world's top 2 premier and most recognized domain extensions are .com and .net. It leaves it alone. Which means those are the ones that will help you build your brand and expand your presence online the best. And of course, they're hooking you up with 25% off when you use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout when you get domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use that coupon code, and when you think domain names, think domain.com. It stops crying. Logo. It reads the teleprompter. It reads...
Now we deal with dragons. First of all, we were able to get this specific model for free from sketchfab.com. They have free and paid models with different licenses. It works very much like any stock photo site. So check that out. They have tons of great stuff there. But now, since we already rotoed out our actor and anything that's going to be in front of an object in the camera view, we can use this as a mask so that the camera tracker doesn't mess up during our solve. We've done a few episodes on tracking before, so we're not going to get into it here. But once you track this scene and create a camera, you're ready to add an object in. We worked with the 3D model right inside of After Effects using Element 3D, then positioned it far back in Z-space and duplicated it and positioned our duplicated dragon across from the first. And now, since we have already done all that roto work, our actor is in front of our statue layers. But now we have to blend these models into our environment to make it stick. First thing that we're going to do is to lower the opacity of the dragon layers. It works in this case because there's nothing behind them, so it will blend into the gradient really well and help it look less saturated. Next, in Element 3D, we're going to enable fog. Our settings probably won't work for you, but we chose the general environment color, which is orange. Then start mess with the start distance and fog range. This really gives the models a sense of depth. This next part can be overlooked by beginners, but you can tell that this looks wrong. The reason why is that we can see the lower part of the dragons. If you consider that we are in this heavy fog, smog, or dust, you would assume that a lot of that stuff accumulates toward the ground. So what Stark did was to use an alpha ramp and delete the bottom part with a smooth feather. Then, because our camera doesn't really move forward depth-wise, he just added a camera lens blur. Then we added some color correction using Magic Bullet Looks. All he did in there was to add haze and flare and a shoulder curve, which suppressed any parts that might be too bright. Then, to give it a little more Blade Runner-y, cinematic-y goodness, we added some sexy film grain and a small amount of chromatic aberration just to grunge it up a little. After that, make sure you have motion blur on for all the appropriate things, and we are done. If you want to add some more bells and whistles, you could do a little bit of shine that is barely noticeable to make it look like the sun is peeking through the atmosphere, and a very subtle layer of smoke footage for the same reason as the shine, to make it look like the atmosphere is being stirred up a bit. But now, after all of that, we end up with this. And that's it, okay? Happy now? Can I go?
Yep.
Why are you taking your sock off? No. Ew, no! Oh, no! You did so good. Come on.
Logo. All right, gentle dudes and lady lovelies. That's all we have for you today, but make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode if you liked it, and check the links below for all our social media goodness. And we'll see you next week when I find out that swimming in zero gravity is not as fun as it sounds. And as always, keep it sexy. Josh out.